Well, hello, beautiful people. How are we doing today? We are back at it once again with the book 3 Feet from Gold by Sharon Leckler. And, well, of course, we got to mention Greg Reid, right? Well, that's his real name. I actually got the book right here. I've been looking through it, um, because I was like wanting to take some notes. So I highly recommend getting the book. So good. But yeah, this is chapter 16, and you know it was interesting because I I feel like, when they were talking about Mrs. Fields, Debbie Field, and understanding that her mom wasn't the most supportive, but she was able to work through it anyways, and that was kind of like the catalyst what got her going. um you know I used to really, for whatever reason, if luckily I don't think my dad's watching this, and my mom, unfortunately, she passed, but I used to blame my family for, or parents, for whatever, for me not having success and all this other kind of stuff. And but understand, I've given them a lot of forgiveness, because it's really, honestly, as a child, you perceive things very differently, and all our parents were doing was doing the best that they could do with what they had. If my parents knew the kind of information that I know now, I'm sure we would all be in a much different place. But and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? And comment down below. I mean, because I don't know how you guys grew up, but understanding that um, your parents are just doing the best they can with what they have. Now, it is another thing when your parents know, or even your circle of friends know the things that we're talking about, and then they're sabotaging you. But I mean, again, if your friends don't know, or they're only telling you because they're looking out for the best for you, and they only know what they do know, right? And so this is an opportunity for your you to show people that there is a difference in this world, depending on how your upbringing was, depending on your circle of friends. I mean, we're leading by example, but it is going to feel kind of, I don't want to say lonely, but it's a path less um, walked. You know, you're an uncharted territory, but that's the exciting thing, because that's where the growth occurs. And you got to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and I talk about that all the time. And yeah, I mean, from an outside perspective, people watching these videos, they're even saying like, Eric, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What do you think, you're some type of guru, whatever? And again, that's fine. I take it all in, good or bad, because the people who have what I want, they're saying keep pushing forward, keep doing what you're doing, right? Because they understand it. They know this is part of the process. So just wanted to kind of remind you guys of that as you guys are going through your own personal journeys, and that's really what this book is kind of explaining to us. And now you can see, you've got a highly successful woman entrepreneur. I mean, what does my she's an entrepreneur, Debbie Fields. And then if you guys can go and look into Sharon Leckler, and all the books that she's written, and the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. She also has a book. I'll put it down in the comments if I can remember. But there's a book that she wrote on her own that's really fascinating. It has to do with like real estate and money. I got a chance to meet her. She's a really nice lady, very successful, and she wants to change the world. So, that's why I really do attach to this book. And like I said, I wanted to bring it to you guys just to kind of, know that there's books out there all the time, and we don't talk about it because, people aren't reading, but readers are leaders. And it is so important. So continue down this path, and let's go ahead and get into chapter 16. And let's see what's going on with David, Greg's brother. All right, let's get going here. Here we go.
When you call upon your subconscious mind, you must conduct yourself just as you would if you were already in possession of the material thing that you are demanding. Napoleon Hill. Chapter 16. Okay. The Courage to Change.
Courage to change. Here we go.
There's nothing quite like the greeting you get at a motivational seminar. You can literally feel the energy coursing through the hallways. "Hi there," one man greeted. "Welcome, my friend," another shouted. Greg felt a little uncomfortable with all the enthusiastic people around him, especially considering that he felt he had been kicked around a bit lately. He definitely felt out of place. "We're glad to have you," a stranger said, in an energetic tone that rivaled Richard Simmons at his best. And although these people were full of liveliness, to say the least, Greg could also sense their sincerity. "Hi," Greg answered. "Looks like I found the right place." He wore a sticker on his shirt that read, "Hi, I'm Greg." "If you're looking for a group of happy, positive, solution-searching characters, you sure did," the man answered. "I'm looking for your keynote speaker," said the young author. "Frank McGuire, one of the original founding members of Federal Express. Do you know where I could find him?" "Right this way." The man led him toward a meeting room nearby. "He goes on last in the lineup. Everyone is excited to hear his story." Me too," Greg replied. Walking through the doors, he immediately knew who McGuire was. There were people gathered tightly around him, all wanting pictures or autographs, asking him one question after another. Instead of bursting to the front, which was his former style and approach, Greg sat quietly until the last person had had a private moment with McGuire. This was Greg's first attempt at obtaining an interview without the help from his mentors. He wanted to see for himself if people would open up as they did when he was introduced by an outside party. Would he find the same common denominators? As he waited his turn, he felt a calmness that was still new to him, a sense that even though there were still many questions to answer and mountains to climb, he was on the right path. "Mr. McGuire," he said as he walked toward the guest of honor, reaching out his hand. "My name is Greg. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir." "The pleasure's mine," Frank McGuire said with genuine warmth in his voice. "Have we met?" "Yes, we have. We just shook hands," the younger man joked. "Ha!" responded the speaker. "That's a good one. How may I serve you?" There it was again, another leader offering to assist him, and this guy was not even one of Buckland's buddies. How is it possible that every one of these people asks the same thing? "I'd like a few minutes of your time. Have you ever heard of the book called Think and Grow Rich?" Greg asked. "Are you kidding?" McGuire exclaimed. "That book changed my life." "I'm working on a new project along with a woman named Sharon Lechter and with the help of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And I'd like to ask you—" "You're working with Don Green?" McGuire interrupted. "You know him?" Greg inquired. "A great man and a great organization," Frank answered. "What can I do to help?" Well, there goes that theory, the younger man thought. Looks like he's in the same circle after all. No wonder he had the same attitude as the others. Isn't it amazing that all his interviewees associate with the same caliber of people? There's just no denying that. And now Greg felt proud that when he sought out someone he wanted to know, it was someone whom his mentors knew as well. "Would you tell me your story?" Frank took a deep breath and said, "The name is Francis Xavier McGuire." Greg asked, "Anyone can look you up on the internet and see your accomplishments, yet what I want to know is this. What kind of challenges have you faced?" "I've never been without challenges. Life is one big challenge, or put it this way, life is one big opportunity to overcome challenges." "Is that how you always looked at things, or was that something you learned?" Greg asked. "No, when I was a scrawny little kid, I was the one who always got kicked around. One day, I decided that I wasn't going to play that role any longer, and I jumped into the game. Once that happened, I also decided that if I was going to play in the game of life, I was only going to play big. So I stood up and started fighting back." "So you're a fan of Think and Grow Rich?" Greg prompted. "Oh, are you kidding? Hill was the creator of all the things that we see and hear and read today about personal development. The man was a genius. My favorite chapter is the one about the gold miner who gave up right before hitting treasure." Greg was no longer amazed that the story that was becoming the driving force in his own life had also affected someone else so powerfully. McGuire went on. "Everyone I've ever known who has achieved some form of greatness has simply never given up when faced with challenges. When we started Federal Express, we were told we would never make it. But we didn't give up. When Colonel Sanders was told he could never sell chicken as fast food, he didn't listen and we didn't give up. And when I worked for Jack Kennedy back in the 1960s, no one thought he would get the presidential nomination, yet he never gave up. Other people standing nearby began forming a circle around the keynote presenter as he continued his thoughts. In every case I have been personally involved with, and in all the stories I've read, the people who achieve greatness are the people who... Sensing a nugget of wisdom about to be delivered, Greg opened his pad and wrote, "Refuse to surrender."
Yes.
Yet that is true only when you're following your life's purpose, don't you think? I mean, if you're doing something you despise and are not gifted at it, isn't it reasonable that you should start a new path or move in a different direction? Greg asked. Great point, the keynoter said, and absolutely true. It's just as Napoleon Hill described in his book. Before any of these suggestions will work, you need to find your specific major purpose, your destiny. Then once you have it, never lose focus on that destiny. Remember this, if you can dream it, you can do it. Once you know what you're destined for, failure becomes impossible. Greg stood still to drink in every word of such a powerful message. McGuire kept speaking. In other words, your mind will not allow you to think of something that you couldn't accomplish. So when you put that image into your imagination, whether it's selling chicken in a cardboard box, delivering packages in the middle of the night, or receiving the nomination for President of the United States, if you can dream it, it's already a reality that's just waiting for you to get there. Greg scribbled in his now accustomed fashion the message that he had gleaned from the keynote speaker. A dream is a reality waiting for you to get there. From the very beginning, what was it like working with Fred Smith as you guys started FedEx? He is a wonderful philosopher. In 1973, he had a vision that Federal Express would circle the globe providing a service that no one else was capable of. And although the venture capitalist and his close associates said that he was crazy, he never gave in. He always knew how to play big, until, of course, he chose to find a way to play ever bigger. How did you get involved with him? After my departure from KFC, Fred saw an article about me in Business Weekly and called me up. He said he'd like to talk with me. I went to see him at a little Holiday Inn, and he had this napkin with a spoke and hub drawn on it. I said, Fred, let me ask you this. I want to understand what you're saying. You want to ship packages across the country in the middle of the night and bring them right here into Memphis? He said, yep, that's right. A little concerned, I replied, that's what I thought you said. And then you want to circle them around and send them back out the next morning before dawn? He answered, that's right. I said, Fred, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. And he looked at me and said, any dumber than selling chicken in a cardboard box? Laughing, Greg said, that's amazing. Is that really what he said? How long was FedEx around before you came on board? It wasn't. I was one of the first guys. Would you call yourself a co-founder? Immediately, McGuire soberly said, no, there is no co-founder. Fred is the only founder. The same with KFC. Unless you're the guy in the white suit, you're not a founder. What would you say to people who feel alone on their quest? What would you suggest that may inspire them to keep going once they find what they're meant for? Greg inquired. The biggest mistake people can make is to think that they are the only one who has ever gone through this experience. The truth is that we all share these experiences. We all love our kids, yet we all go through the same turmoil of raising them. We all have businesses that go through cycles. Give me one example of going with the flow when challenges come your way. Leaning in toward Greg and shifting his body, McGuire shared his final message. Using the FedEx example, 50% of our revenue was from documents, and the other 50% was from packages. One day, we looked in the paper and read about this new thing called a fax machine. Knowing that half of our revenue had just been taken away, we could easily have quit right then. That's it. It's over. We're done with. But not Fred. He kicked the tires, got creative, and made a better company in the face of this major obstacle that was thrown in our path. We did that many different times. Without any prompting, the group who had gathered around applauded as McGuire rose to wish the young author farewell. Before he could leave, McGuire put his arm around Greg's shoulder and whispered into his ear, there is gold within 3 feet from where you stand now, so stay away from self-pity. Stop playing victim, and whatever you do, keep digging. It's your turn.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. So good, you guys. So good. Let's get back here. Wow. The inspiration in this book is so inspiring. I have so many different ideas and things that I'm just running through, and let's just continue to finish this book, grow through all of this. I hope you guys are really enjoying. Definitely share this with somebody. I mean, what a book of inspiration, right? And we're not even done yet. So I hope you guys are really, really enjoying this as much as I am, and just so excited for life, and just knowing that, hey, look, if you needed any motivation, inspiration, you were doubting yourself, questioning it, you got all your answers right here in this book. Just keep pushing forward. Never give up, no matter what. And you got support here, right? So if you guys haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of this great content. I am posting these every day. And until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.